morning from the duck flies at midnight. Recently, HUAC has been making headlines. The House of Un-American Activities Committee is dedicated to investigating disloyalty and other activities favoring communism. Before the end of World War II, HUAC had little popularity. But now that America is in conflict with the Soviets, HUAC has a lot more on their plates. Former state official Alger Hiss was arrested by HUAC official Richard Nixon for perjury. Now to Jules Katowski in Washington.
Thanks, Madison! Reporting here from Washington, D.C. We have some new information on Alger Hiss' case. According to a statement made by his attorney today, Alger Hiss, a U.S. State Department official, was found guilty on two charges of Whitaker Chambers accused him of membership in a communist movement. Denied these charges. He denied this accusation and lied when he testified that he did not talk to Chambers. Well, Wendy out here. Okay. He's sentenced to 5 years in prison, and his conviction is bringing national attention to the communist infiltration into the U.S. State Department. This is not okay, everybody. It's not okay. You should be scared. Back to you, Maddie, from the duck flies at midnight.
Hi, reporting here from Washington, D.C. with Alger Hiss's attorney. I'm going to ask her a few questions. Okay. What do you think of the outcome of the case?
I think it's an atrocity. Alger Hiss is a great American, has done a lot to benefit America, and America has turned their back on him. He is not the enemy. These people in the government that have persecuted him are the enemy.
What do you think of Richard Nixon's interrogating tactics?
Despicable. That a man like that could attack a hero like Albert Hiss is, in essence, un-American. I see him never getting elected to political office ever again.
Well, there you have it, America.
Thank you, Jules. The House of Un-American Activities Committee also arrested author Arthur Miller for his book, The Crucible. After trying to renew his passport to go to Brussels, Miller was arrested. Now to Julia Maxon in Salem, Massachusetts.
I'm Julia Maxman, here in Salem, Massachusetts in 1957. I'm reporting on Arthur Miller's case, testifying against HUAC, from the case from June 21st, 1956. The case is about his pro-communist undertakings. HUAC has summoned Miller to court after he wanted to renew his passport to go to London with recently married wife, actress Marilyn Monroe. Later, the two are planning on traveling to Brussels for Miller's new play, The Crucible. Representative Francis Walter, HUAC's chairman, told Miller he wouldn't have to name names, but went against his word. When asked why the Communist Party produced one of his plays, Miller replied, "I take no more responsibility for who plays my plays than General Motors can for who rides in their Chevrolets." After the trial, Miller was found guilty of contempt of Congress. He was denied a passport and to spend 30 days in jail. Though his conviction was overturned, Miller was still seen as being a communist or sympathizer himself.
I'm Julia Maxman, here with Marilyn Monroe, the wife of Arthur Miller. I'm talking to her about his recent play, The Crucible, which is about the witch hunt trials. Although some believe that this allegory made him seem like he had communistic views, in reality, he was just writing a play based upon the witch trials. It didn't necessarily have to do with his views. Marilyn, do you believe that your husband's a communist, or was just writing this to get a point across?
I think he was just writing it
To get his point across.
Yes.
Yeah. So this can be seen because, like I had stated earlier, when he was on trial and asked about it, he'd stated that, like General Motors, he can't decide who rides his vehicle.
Now back to you, Maddie.
Thank you, Julia. HUAC seems to be making all of the headlines today, especially with the Rosenberg case. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg are Jewish immigrants that moved to the Lower East Side of New York City. Now a seemingly normal family will be sentenced to death. Now to Julie Rosenberg in New York City.
Hi, Julie Rosenberg here to tell you about the Rosenberg case. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, no affiliation to me though, were just executed in 1953 for treason. Julius came to New York City as a new immigrant, and his wife Ethel was born here and was an aspiring actress, but clearly that didn't work out. She was executed instead. Julius was fired from serving in the U.S. Army after it was found that he was a part of the Communist Party, and during the Manhattan Project, his brother-in-law, David Greenberg, was sending him reports in which he would then forward to the Soviet Union. He and his wife Ethel found it unfair that the Allies were not introduced to the idea of the atomic bomb and gave them much of the information that the U.S. was supplying during the Manhattan Project. They were soon executed in an electric chair in 1953, and this became a controversial piece because they were the only ones to be executed for treason during the time of the Cold War. Thank you, and back to you, Maddie.
Mr. Frida, what do you think about Julius and Ethel Rosenberg's actions of giving information on the atomic bomb to the Soviets?
Well, I think in the 40s or 50s, it would be seen as a treasonous activity, and as a result, as long as the judicial system was impartial in this situation, yeah.
Do you think it was a deserving crime of being executed?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I mean, when you look back in the history, you wonder whether or not everything that people were accused of actually happened. You know what I mean? And I've been taught U.S. in a long time, but I mean, if it actually occurred, then yeah, I guess that's the punishment for the crime.
Even though they were the only ones to be executed for treason at that time?
Could it have been like a scapegoating situation that were accused of actually happened? You know what I mean? And I haven't taught U.S. in a long time, but I mean, if it actually occurred, then yeah, I guess that's the punishment for the crime.
Even though they were the only ones to be executed for treason at that time?
Could it have been like a scapegoating situation that we're saying, like we're trying to find, people who's, yeah, I mean, were there other people who were also accused of those types of crimes, or were they the only two ever accused and ever convicted? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if that should have happened.
Do you think it could have had anything to do with the fact that they were Jewish?
I don't know. I mean, I think it had more to do with, a fear of communism, the Soviet Union, and the fact that they were Jewish. Because, I mean, we could talk about that with Italian Americans like Sacco and Vanzetti as well. I don't know. I don't think so, personally.
Thank you, Julie. Catherine Kessler is in Hollywood, California, investigating the Hollywood blacklist. A few prominent people in Hollywood have been suspected of communist activities. For this, many directors and entertainers will lose their jobs, impacting the media greatly. Over to you, Catherine.
Catherine Kessler here, reporting from Hollywood, California. The Red Scare is continuing to consume our nation. After our victory in World War II, the Truman administration believed a communist conspiracy was linked to civil wars in Europe and Asia. Prominent individuals such as Langston Hughes, Arthur Miller, Paul Robeson, Alfred Hitchcock, and Harry Belafonte, to name a few, have been suspected of sympathizing with liberal or humanitarian causes. We have linked this to communist threats and even accused them of espionage. The blacklist was created after 10 actors here in Hollywood refused to testify in front of the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Hundreds of actors, actresses, directors, screenwriters, and other entertainment professionals were barred from working. This rise of action has set the end to the careers of many entertainment professionals and seriously damaged the reputation of many more. Thank you. Back to you, Maddie.
Question from you. What's your name? Cameron. Cameron. I'm here with Cameron. What do you think of the blacklist? Communism. It's about communism. Oh yes. Thank you.
So we're here today at a
Communism's a good thing.
Communism's bad.
Communism is
You're gonna get arrested. What are you talking about?
No. Okay.
Do it.
Thanks again, Catherine. As you can see, it has been quite an eventful evening for HUAC. Many communist arrests have been made, which is a cause of threat for our security, especially with our war in Russia. Coming up next, Jackie Robinson has integrated the first baseball team in America. Thanks for watching.